The price of gas now stands at $4.32 for a gallon of regular. That's up 25 cents from just a week ago. Let's bring in Larry Kudlow. Larry, good to see you, my friend. This energy inflation began, let's be honest, on the day that Joe Biden was elected. We saw it go up because we knew what he was going to do. We all knew he was going to be attacking domestic production. He said as much on the campaign trail, and now he's blaming Russia and oil companies for inflation. Do you think he's going to get away with that?
No, I don't. And whenever he plays the blame game, his polls go down because people understand the dishonesty of it and the falsehoods of the analysis. I mean, look, you had a couple things going on. It was clear from the beginning that he was going to shut down drilling, production, and maybe most importantly, pipelines. Right. That was very clear when he killed the XL. But the other thing, David, is, let's face it, the so-called rescue package in March of 2021, a year ago, put deficit financing and excess demand into the system, and the Federal Reserve accommodated it. They did the underwriting, and they printed more money than we've ever seen before. They're still doing it, by the way. And by the way, the Congress is still spending money, $1.5 trillion, no pay-fors, in this so-called omnibus bill. So inflation is too much money chasing too few goods. We started the inflation rate at less than 2% when Donald Trump left office, and it has been rising ever since, way before Vladimir Putin invaded
Larry,
Ukraine.
Larry, you haven't heard the new form of economics from Nancy Pelosi. Madam Pelosi has a new approach to economics. I just want to play a bit and get your reaction. Roll tape.
I'm sick of this stuff.
No.
We have to talk about it because the American people think the reason for inflation is government spending more money. Simply not true.
When we're having this discussion, it's important to dispel some of those who say, well, it's the government spending. No, it isn't. The government spending is doing the exact reverse, reducing the national debt. It is not inflationary.
So spending more money by the government is reducing government debt. What do you make of that, Larry?
I love it. I just love it. It's a whole new idea for economics. I need to study it more. I want to see some follow-up from her staff. I just think it's a fabulous idea. I mean, look, some honest Democratic economists who are friends of ours, the guys like Jason Furman and Larry Summers and so forth, have put the lie to that. But that's the nonsense. That's the reason why Biden's economic polling is in the mid to low 30s. But, look, Russia invades Ukraine, yes, late February. That has caused a spike in both world oil prices and gasoline prices. I'm willing to concede that. But the trouble with the Bidens is they have amnesia about the 12 or 13 months prior to that invasion, which is where the inflationary seeds were originally planted. And so, no, he's not going to get away with that.
Well, bottom line is that they don't seem to be turning from that point, and they continue to put forth these spending packages and getting as much as possible through. Now, they can't get BBB. You pretty much killed that. Joe Manchin did specifically, but your kill the bill worked. But they keep trying to put through spending, and sometimes Republicans come with them. They had this China bill. Explain what's happening there that a lot of Republicans actually signed on to.
Well, Senate Republicans did, absolutely. At that point, it was $250 billion. All that is to try to out-China China with corporate subsidies and corporate welfare and industrial policies. The state, any government, any central planner will not create the technological invention and innovation it takes for breakthroughs in things like artificial intelligence and 5G and whatnot, other areas. So that's a mistaken bill. It's a terrible deal. It's just a giveaway. Look, David, you can go back just 2, 3, 4 days ago, right? The House passed and the Senate passed a $1.5 trillion discretionary omnibus spending bill. Now, look I'm in favor of the defense portion of that bill. I'm in favor of the Ukraine assistance portion of that bill. I'm also in favor of getting those Polish jets into the Ukraine. But I'm not in favor of rapid-fire 7% increase in domestic spending, and nobody really stood up and talked about the pay-fors. I didn't hear the word pay-for once last week, and that's too bad, because both political parties have got to understand that deficit-financed overspending, accommodated by the Federal Reserve's money creation, is the ultimate cause of the inflation. Right. The inflation is not over, David. I don't think we've seen the peak in the inflation. Let's not forget the regulatory octopus that is destroying our fossil fuel industry. Right. That adds to inflation as well. And I don't think this is going to end well. I mean, we're sitting here right now. I don't think this is going to end well.
Well, that's not going to end well, but I have to end this segment, Larry, because we have totally run out of time. But I have to say, I want to bring Pelosi economics to my home, where I can spend more and actually not pay for it. I mean, it's a great policy, but you can see that octopus. If you haven't seen that graphic that they're now using on Kudlow, you got to tune in just for the graphic alone. It's beautiful. Kudlow, it's on weekdays, 4 p.m., including today, and Larry will be there. Larry, pleasure to see you. Thank you for joining us this morning.